Hey, what up, everybody? Steviebreech coming to you. Last time around WrestleMania time, I started making a string of videos called YouTube True Stories, telling you the behind the scenes, I guess you can say, stories of the WrestleMania trips of meeting up with Luke Cage, freaking yeah 88, and Assault and Battery the last 2 years, and just told you the funny stuff that put the stories together and everything like that. And you guys heavily requested making ones for SummerSlam. So I said, hey, hold on. I'll make them around SummerSlam time, so that way they're a little bit more valid and they go along with what's going on in the world today. And I just made the SummerSlam 2010, the movie, which was about 9 minutes long, as you can see. I really didn't know how to make a real good day in the life video. As you can see, it's 2 days, and I only filmed about 10 minutes, and a good portion of that is me just putting pictures in there that I took. Those are the actual videos that I put up, and you guys really liked them. This is coming after WrestleMania 26. I won a contest through WB Comics, and I had gone to that event, and it really changed my eyes as being a wrestling fan. I was a real negative wrestling fan at the time, and now I have become more of a positive fan and really liking the product again. WrestleMania really opened up my eyes, and after that trip, because of making videos and sort of sending messages to people that I liked on YouTube and just letting them know that I liked them, and doing what everybody does when they first start making videos, trying to make contacts and just get your videos out there so people can see. I had reached out to Gemini and freaking yeah 88, and I had been added into, I guess you can say, people like to call us the Click at the time, and we still run with that now. But I got added into the Skype calls, and I'd been talking with them every once in a while, or maybe even nightly, I guess you can say, throughout the time. And it came up to where SummerSlam was coming, and I was a real big Nexus fan. As everybody can remember, I was making videos about Nexus like every day. I was heavily into that storyline, and I loved every minute of it. And freaking 88, who had already had a ticket for SummerSlam, asked if it was a possibility that I could go down there, because this is going to be Nexus' first real big show. They were going to be headlining, and I don't think the show was put together yet. But you could tell that Nexus was to be heavily involved in that show, and I honestly, didn't think, being a husband and a father of two, that I'd be able just to head on down to LA to see a wrestling show, turn around and come back home, and one way or another, after I guess hearing my excuse that I didn't think I'd be able to go, he said, "Why don't you just ask your wife?" And I was like, "I'm not even gonna ask her because I already think she says no." And from leaving the computer on and walking out of the room, my wife came in and doing one of her things where she says hi to everybody that's in the call. And yeah, just asked her, like, can Steve go to SummerSlam? He said that I think it's the show that he would really want to go to, and I don't think she knew who the Nexus was, but he used that, and she said, you know what? Steve makes the money, and if that's what he wants to do, that's what he can do. And I was just like, whoa. Holy shit, I guess I'm going to SummerSlam. And through that, I was able to put together, which was our first summertime vacation, and I built a Disneyland vacation to take the kids down there and my wife, so I wouldn't feel, guilty about, wasting all that money. I just sort of built it in. And she has some friends that live down in LA, so we were able to hook them up so they could be doing something and not just sitting around while I went. So we went for 4 days to Disneyland, drove on down to LA, which is about an 8-hour cruise. And, the last 2 days built around it was SummerSlam, and then we drive home. Little did we know, I didn't have to come back to work until Tuesday. Tuesday I had to work at noon. And we found some tickets on eBay, 5th row, for Monday Night Raw before we went, so it was the big decision. And me and Yeah bought the Raw tickets. We ended up sitting TV side, the dream seats, 5th row. We were sitting right at the top of your television. It was cool to get everybody's tweets from the show. And we bought them, $100 the week of the show, and it was a dream to sit there. I'm not sure with WWE's recent ticket increase that we would find those seats at the same price anymore, but we were more than willing to pay for those seats for $100, even if they weren't camera side. And once we got there, it was, holy shit, we're on TV all night long. But anyways, go to Disneyland, have tons of fun. When I bought tickets, I'll go back to that. I bought tickets. I was originally going to be sitting with Luke Cage, but he sort of jumped in It's like, oh, fuck yeah, Steve's going, I'll sit with you, it'll be a blast. A couple days after we bought the tickets, I had fronted him his money, and he sort of came to me and said, he had to pay for classes, and one thing led to another. He had to put real life in front of wrestling life, and he had to back out, and I was able to find another person to go with me, another YouTuber, Above Average Muda, who I guess you could say, I was about to give him a plug, but he doesn't make videos anymore, and his videos aren't able to be up, but able to sell my ticket to him, who I never met before, who Freaking 88 was able to put that sale together, and then come when John Cena put together his little dream team of guys, and it was known that Bret Hart was going to be at that show. Luke Cage jumped back in, so we were able to have the 3 Freebirds and Above Average Muda come down for the trip. It was Luke and I. We met up. Came and he picked me up at my Disneyland hotel. That was, freaking awesome. And this is a guy, honestly, that I talked to almost every day for 4 months or so. From WrestleMania time until then, we got on Skype. We talked every night about, same old shit. And, we were pretty good friends in internet land. And I can always remember he came and picked me up at my hotel. I said bye to my kids and my wife because they were jumping in the car. And we drove down the road. And as soon as I got in the car and started driving down the road, it turned into like, holy shit, I've never seen this guy in real life before, and I don't know what to say to this guy. We honestly went down the street, we drove for a good 5 to 10 minutes without even saying a word before finally somebody cracked the ice and was like, I forgot, I talk to you every day, and I always laugh about that, thought it was pretty funny. We had damn good wrestling discussion the whole way down there. I don't know why I didn't film it. Like I said, I just didn't know how to make a day in the life video. I didn't know that's the stuff that you guys like to see when you watch the videos, and I kicked myself not for doing it. We were talking about our dreams, about Daniel Bryan, being revealed at the show, and The Miz having the Money in the Bank. There was 100 things that we talked about. It was wrestling discussion the whole way there, almost. We ended up meeting up at the show with our buddy Molly, and it was funny because we were one of the first people to get there, but we weren't the first people in line. But because we were talking to Molly was the first guy to be there, and we were shooting the shit with him. And as people started piling in, somebody finally told us the place we were in wasn't the line, so we had to get out, jump back into line, and get ready to meet people. We had our VIP tickets, so at SummerSlam you have your exclusive entrance into the show. And you're able to enter in before the other people. And as we were sitting there waiting in line, Vince McMahon and his limo pulled up, and he walked right into access, right through the front doors. The sight that I'll never forget. He was actually on the other side that wasn't the VIP line, and he walked by and he actually signed autographs and took pictures for people that were waiting to get in the show. When we went in, we were newbies because we had the VIP tickets to meet Edge. We jumped right into that line, and our buddy Luke, who was in the regular ticket line, and the one time we were able to meet Edge, he was able to meet Kane, Cody Rhodes, and the Great Khali. And so you have to really think about that. If you want to get VIP, you're guaranteed to meet somebody, but if you go through the other lines, you're going to get a lot of people. The 2 years that I've been to Access has grew a little bit bigger, but it's still not WrestleMania Access. I mean, you could sweep that place and have a blast. But just think about that. We met Edge. I was wearing the Jack Swagger Basic as I walked in up to meet Edge. The first thing he wanted to talk about was my Jack Swagger shirt. He was surprised that Jack Swagger didn't have a shirt. And after I met Edge, I went all the way down to the end, met Jack Swagger, and I was talking crap about Edge to Swagger about how he couldn't believe that he had a t-shirt and he would disrespect him like that. And Swagger was saying that he'd get him in the ring as soon as he could. At the time, that was pretty funny, but I shot the stuff with Swagger pretty much, told him that I was, a big fan, and I'm sure that he's heard it 1,000 times, but I don't think he knows how big a fan I really am. And at this point in his career now, I probably am his #1 fan, I'm proud to say. Most times at Access, you're able to only get one thing signed, but for Swagger, because I told him I was such a big fan and kept talking to him to the point where, they wanted to get rid of me, I slid my second thing to him and he signed it. I got a figure signed by him, which was his rookie figure, but I'm not sure at the time, and I also got an 8x10 of him winning the Money in the Bank. From there, we walked all the way down, met up with Luke. Luke was in the Swagger line, but he was behind us. We hadn't found him yet, but he found us, jumped in line to meet Swagger at the same time. And after that, we really, got to hang out. And Luke was having this slicked back hair look. I don't know how really to say it, but if you watch his earlier videos, you can't watch those because he deleted them. But Luke's hair in 2010 was quite classic. And I looked up on Facebook yesterday. He really shaved his head, and he was almost at the slick back look. It was almost vintage Luke Cage. So you have to kick him for doing that to us and not allowing us to see the slick back look. From there, we jumped into a line which we were told at intermission when they changed the guys out was going to be where the legends were at, and we were in line for Kelly Kelly at the time, but we were waiting for Sergeant Slaughter and Roddy Piper. We got damn near close in that line. We didn't want to meet Kelly Kelly. Looking back, she's a hot babe. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Seeing how much time we had, we probably could have jumped back in line and had time to meet Slaughter and Piper, but you never know how that stuff happens. I remember getting to the point of being scared, like, shit, should we get out of line, go into the back? That way we're guaranteed to meet Slaughter and Piper when we don't meet Kelly Kelly. But we wrote it out, and they did the shift change. Originally, when Kelly Kelly left, it was only Sergeant Slaughter was up there. I think Roddy Piper was running a little bit behind, so a lot of people only got to meet the Sarge. But by the time we got there, we were right in the front. Piper came walking up, and we were able to have a little quick intermission, every 10 to 15 minutes. People jump down off the stage and they sign for the people that are waiting, that are handicapped and have other special needs. They have a special spot for them so they don't have to wait in the line. And some people abuse it. Some people use it for the right reasons. And those people that do, I think it's cool. They go out of their way to help those people out. But when those people jump up, especially if it's a tandem, like two different people and somebody's signing up, they just look out into the crowd and they just have normal conversations with normal people. And Piper and Luke had a movie. They actually talked about the Expendables. I think that's in the video that I put up the other day. And that's damn near cool, just to shoot the shit with your favorite wrestler about God knows forever. Forever what. And we ended up getting around. We got to talk to Piper and Slaughter. They got our stuff signed. Piper, I didn't know was going to be there, so I didn't have time to buy a figure for him. I would have bought one of those insurance grades Mattels that were out at the time. Those were damn awesome, but it didn't happen because I didn't know he was going to be there. But Sergeant Slaughter had a pretty cool figure. Piper signed my encyclopedia, and it was a good fun day. As Luke met Piper, the joke that we always talk about. Luke went in for a hug from Roddy Piper for some reason. Piper, being the cool dude, hugged this guy back. I've never seen anybody hug any of the wrestlers before. Well, maybe some girls get away with it, but never a guy. And Luke loves that moment. I put a picture up on TwitPic of it the other day. It is just bizarre because I was using a normal camera and shooting pictures at the same time as I was recording. The picture is sideways for some reason. I'm not sure if we fixed that or not, but and the footage is that way. We couldn't find any way to flip it, but I wasn't thinking about what I was doing at the time. From there, we met up with Above Average Muda, who didn't go into Access. He just was meeting us before the show, and we went and had lunch at ESPN Zone, and that's become our new sort of tradition that we've done every year, before the show, to shoot the shit. And we go in there, and it's just the four of us, and it was just like Yeah Mine Trip when we rode on into Access. We just sat there, and we just shot wrestling angles and stuff that we loved in wrestling for the past, 4 years, or 4 or 5 years. It was just awesome. Talking about that, we found the secret of Above Average Muda turning steviebreech in back in the day, and that's heated rivalry from the past. And then we went into the show. It was just like any other SummerSlam show or any other show at Staples Center. Horrible place to get into the show. Wonderful place to see the show once you get on the inside. But getting into that place, for some reason, is a disaster every year we go. Above Average Muda, like I said, he sat with me. We sat up in the 200s. And maybe it was in the 100s. I can't really remember. But they were good seats. We were right across from the Tron and where the people come out. So we were able to see in there. It was funny. At the start of the show, the Tron didn't work. And you can hear it on the pay-per-view version. But I think they took it out of the pay-per-view, but everybody was chanting, fix the Tron, fix the Tron. I believe the first match is the Intercontinental title match, which was supposed to be like a scramble match with Matt Hardy and a whole bunch of other people, but due to the Drew McIntyre thing, I think they pulled Drew McIntyre off the show because his wife, Tiffany, one of the hottest and best ECW GMs of all time, they got in their big skirmish right then. They pulled him from the show. They pulled her from the show. She was supposed to be involved in some tag match with Kelly Kelly, if I remember right as well. But that thing got all messed up. It ended up being Kofi Kingston against Dolph Ziggler, I think who it was, and that was a run-in by the Nexus. That was freaking awesome to see. Get all the way to the main event, and it was sort of a letdown to see, it was sort of a letdown for Nexus to lose. But it was really cool to see, Daniel Bryan re-debut, which I made the video from that when I was when I was staying at the hotel one night. I was bored, so I made a video, and I actually, wanted to put the camera, my flip camera, on the the tabletop where the sink is, and so so I flipped the trash can over and sat it down so I'd be able to be in the camera view, and a whole bunch of people made fun of me. They thought I was sitting on the can when I was making the video, but I promise you the can was on the other side of the room from me, and I was not sitting on it, but people still like to find that video. It's called Who's Gonna Be the Seventh Man, SummerSlam, or something like that, but that was funny. From there, it was really, really cool, because that was our last day at Disneyland. What happened was we went and stayed with one of Danielle's, I apologize, you don't know who that is, went and stayed with my wife's friend, who stayed out in Long Beach, and took me all the way out to Long Beach, dropped me off, and then went and stayed where he was staying at, and then he came back and picked me up the next day. Funny story is, me and my wife and kids, we went out and we explored Long Beach. We kicked it around that day until the time, it was about that Yaya was going to come pick me up. But then they wanted to go out and get something for dinner while the kids were napping. So my wife and her friend left me with the kids, and they wanted to go to the store. They were gone, honestly, for forever, it felt like. And then during that time, Yaya came and picked me up, who, like I was saying, like we were good internet friends, but in real life friends, I wouldn't leave my friend sitting out in the car for 20 minutes. Or so, waiting for my wife to come back, and I felt really bad. I felt really panicked, like he was gonna get pissed off and leave me or something like that. But cool dude he was. He understood. He left. Funny thing was, when my wife came back from the store, I was so panicked about making Yaya mad. I ran out and I ran to where I thought he was parked, and I was running the wrong way down the street until I finally texted him. And then when I got to the end of the street, I had to turn around and run all the way back to his car. And he said it was cool. We got in the car, we drove back, fought some LA traffic, got to the show. And this is the dumbest move ever. Monday Night Raw that night was a double taping. They were leaving. They were going to go do some shows in Hawaii, and then they were going to Japan, if I remember right. That is the trip where Skip Sheffield, the guy who is Ryback now, got injured, hurt his ankle, and that was the end of him. But they did the double taping, and that was pretty cool. You sit through one Monday Night Raw, which is normal, and then you sit through the taping of the next Monday Night Raw, which shoots, as soon as one match ends and the music stops, the next music comes on. It is like watching just like, I swear they shoot that 2-hour Raw in less than an hour, it seems like sometimes. But that was pretty cool. Like I said, we were sitting 5th row. We didn't really expect that we were going to have that good of seats, so we didn't tell anybody, but we were getting the texts all the time about people seeing us, and that was, pretty cool about Twitter and stuff like that, people spotting you and letting you know that they see you on TV. During that show, we made some friends. At that time, Maurice, I won't go into the whole story, but Maurice at that time was only being referred to as roast beef by me. You can figure that one out if you watch the Fatal 4-Way show. Maybe not. You have to watch the pay-per-view version. You can't watch the whatever. So maybe if you look it up on YouTube, you can check it out. But it's definitely not on the DVD. That's why they show you at the end. They show you Eve, who's not even in the ring, and that's when they count the 3 count. You can't see it at all. But maybe now you can really figure it out what was going on in the ring. But I was yelling that, and I got a kid in trouble because the kid started yelling roast beef, and I remember Dad turned around and he was laughing about it. It was cool. He was like, "Hey, I think the kid is getting in trouble," because I think his parents figured out what he's talking about. But there was another kid that was busting up laughing because he was yelling, "You suck eggs." And we were booing John Cena at the time. We were heavily, favoring the Nexus. And, I think we almost made this little kid cry. And I remember, I had to, really talk to the kid and say, "Hey, we're just joking. We're just having fun." And then he was into it and he was having fun. It was pretty cool. Yaya got on TV one time yelling at Great Khali, and we think he pissed the Great Khali off. During the chick match, I ran off at Staples Center. They give you free refills. Ran up, got the refills. You can see me jump in the seats to get back into it. Also, another time you can heavily see us on TV. Randy Orton had a match with, I believe it was Sheamus at the time. Not 100% sure. I haven't seen the match in a while, but they started fighting through the crowd, and they fight right by our seats. And we're on TV. I was a mark. I was trying to take a picture of him. Yaya's cheering him on, kick his ass, kick his ass. That was right when Randy Orton was really on his I'm a Good Guy tour, which was still a little weird to me. I hate Orton as a heel because he just bores the hell out of me, but as a face he bores me even more. So I don't know. Randy Orton match here and there will pop up and it'll be really good, but I just don't really care for him at all. And then the dumb thing was, after that show ended, Yaya drove me back to Long Beach, which I already had the car packed. We had to leave that, whatever time that was, drive all the way home so I could be at work the next day. So I drove home overnight, came home, slept for what felt like barely an hour, which probably was right about an hour, and then jumped in my car, went back to work. Made it through the whole day, with barely any sleep, coming down off the wrestling high of seeing SummerSlam and then 2 Monday Night Raws. And right at the last minute, I snapped on a customer. I swear I had 10 minutes left of my shift, and then I just tripped out. I don't know what happened, but it almost went off without a hitch. Maybe if I would have left a little early. Probably wouldn't do the double tapings and come home the next year, which I'll see in the next video as soon as I make the video for SummerSlam 2011. I'll make one of these for then. But we went to SummerSlam and Monday Night Raw to start the trip, and then we went to Disneyland, and then we came home after. So it was all good times. Hope everybody had a good fun. Hope this explained to you. If you have any questions about Access or about SummerSlam or being in the LA area or anything like that, or anything, like I said, SummerSlam and SummerSlam Access is an awesome time on the West Coast to come forward. If you live anywhere over here, you want to meet the wrestlers, it's one of your only chances unless you go to WrestleMania. It seems like the last few years, WrestleMania has been heavily on the East Coast, Miami, Atlanta, New Jersey. It's been a while since 26 and they were there. If you want to meet them, that's the time to come. And if you have any questions, it's the perfect time to plan a Disneyland vacation. You youngsters, you can use that for your advantage. If you're my age and you got kids, it's a good chance to bring them down and you can check out, something that you really like. But it's a blast. Like I said, we went the next year, and I'm going this year. No Disneyland this year, though. But I'll give you the rundown 2011 in the next video. So this is Stevie Breech. Thanks, everybody. Peace out.